President Trump waging a war of words on Florida Republican Governor Ron DeSantis, or Ron DeSanctimonious, or Meatball Ron. Yeah, those nicknames, they're okay. C+ at best. DeSantis sure looks like he's gearing up for a 2024 run. His rise appears to be getting under Trump's skin. Today, Trump ranting on Truth Social, writing, quote, "Florida was doing great long before Ron DeSantis got there. People are fleeing from New York to Florida and other places because of high taxes and out-of-control crime, not because of Governor, thank you, President Trump, DeSanctimonious. Rick Scott did great, and even Charlie Crist had very good numbers. Sunshine and ocean, very alluring." DeSantis, that's a new one, but the governor seems to be taking it all in stride. So what happens when DeSantis officially announces a run? The party panelists back. Stephen L. Miller, Marie Harf, Ilya Shapiro. Stephen L. Miller, I can't get enough of it. I love it. I love the run-up. I love how it feels. I think Trump has lost a step. Obviously, Ron DeSantis doesn't need to get into the fray now, but at some point he has to. What happens when he hits back?
We're going to learn a lot. Trump always ran as a counterpuncher. That was kind of his self-professed thing. And he's not counterpunching here, and he looks sort of desperate. And when you're going after a very popular governor who, has been the tip of the spear on a lot of cultural issues, from critical race theory to extremist gender theory, and who won his state in his re-election by 19 points, in the case of Charlie Crist, you never, ever have to hand it to him. And so a lot of Trump's attacks just right now aren't sticking. You can't paint him as endorsed by Soros when DeSantis fired a pro-Soros prosecutor. You can't paint him as lockdown Ron when Ron DeSantis was the face of the anti-lockdown whole movement, the Grim Reaper guy wandering the beaches saying he's killing everyone. You can't really go after him on some of those issues. And so that's where Trump is coming off looking from a point of weakness, and it looks sort of desperate this early on.
All right, so what happens between these two, Marie? You don't have to like either of them, but I know you are an avid consumer of political blood sport. So how does this end in terms of the Republican nomination?
I mean, Kennedy, it's anyone's guess. Look, I think that Trump and DeSantis are going to keep going at each other. And the question is whether someone like Nikki Haley, who's out talking to voters in places like New Hampshire right now, can actually make the case that these guys are kind of nuts, right? And you were so sick of the chaos, and you were sick of the tweeting, and you were sick of, the really hard right culture wars that can't win independent voters, whether someone like a Nikki Haley rises to the top. I'm not sure. I think that it's DeSantis, Trump right now. That's the race, I think, for the nomination. But neither of those candidates can bring in those independent voters. And I don't know where the Republican electorate is now. Are they so sick of Trump and so sick of losing under Trump that they're ready to try someone else?
No,
or are they still beholden to him? I don't think any of us know the answer to that question.
600,000 independent voters moved to Florida.
Yeah, but it's interesting you say that, Marie, because Florida was considered for a long time. I mean, we all remember 2000. It was considered a purple state. And DeSantis won by 19%. People are fleeing there.
Now Texas is now more of a swing state than Florida is, apparently. It's a
Georgia,
big transformation.
Arizona,
there.
states change,
yeah,
right?
Absolutely.
States change. Georgia's now blue.
Okay, but states change, but to your point, I want to respond to specifically what you were asking, because I think there are a lot of Republicans who really like Trump's policies. There are a lot of people who like that he was anti-establishment, he was refreshing, he stood up for them. They like those ideas. I think there are a lot of Republicans, and correct me if I'm wrong, Ilya, who like that Ron DeSantis embodies that stuff but has sort of a better working record right now.
Yeah, and you can tell that the Democrats and the media, but I repeat myself, are afraid of DeSantis because they're trying to make him look as worse than Trump. It's the strange new respect for former Republican presidents that always happens. DeSantis is going to be formidable, and clearly he's not being drawn into the rope-a-dope by Trump, who does look desperate. I mean, those truths that you were reading out, it sounds like if I went to Chat GPT and said, write me a tweet in the style of Trump. It was almost this weird haiku version thing. So it's going to be fun to watch. But DeSantis doesn't have to get in anytime soon. He can let Trump keep grasping for attention.
Yes, and there are a lot of Republicans who are looking and going,
Yeah, and
we
one last-
like this guy. Go ahead, Stephen.
Yeah, one last point. Trump's not going to be able to kind of run from his presidency. He's not an insurgent candidate this time. He does have a record, some good, some bad. So when he's trying to, again, paint DeSantis with some of these positions like he's a Paul Ryan rhino, it was Trump who signed Paul Ryan's tax legislation into law. And a lot of these things are going to come back on Trump. And it just comes down to, is Trump focused and disciplined enough to stay on those issues and stop ranting about an election that will be 4 years old?
Yeah, and
Or the lockdowns where DeSantis followed 2 weeks after
Trump
Trump announced
shut down the country. That also turned out to be very unpopular.